want to go over July CPI, an unusual price action between the Nasdaq and the E-minis and the micro futures on this trade. So first of all, June CPI came out 8.5%. Last month it was 9.1%, and so it ticked down, and they're celebrating peak inflation. They've been calling for peak inflation since October, based on my account, and so markets don't just do this and then one down tick means a trend change. So one down tick doesn't mean a trend change, and that's what is assumed here from what I can tell. And so that's something to watch for, a distortion in market prices. You know, a lot of time we've seen more V reversals lately, but typically things move in waves. And so it could be a down tick, and then it could have another high tick, a down tick, another high tick. That's typically how prices and markets move. So, but we'll see. It could be peak inflation, but inflation is sustainably higher. But that was the news report today, and the market is optimistic and rallying on that news. But what happened with this price action was two unusual things happened with this price action on the CPI. And first of all, there was an early move, kind of a false start. You see, 7:30 or 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central is where it usually comes out, and so at the close of this bar it's released, and then you see the big move up 1 minute. Most of the gains on the day were done in 1 minute, maybe 2 or 3. 3 minutes later it's here. So 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minutes. So that's not unusual. We see that a lot. What is unusual is this false start. You had a false start, almost 70 points, I guess, from the around 30.80 up to 13.150, 13.80 to 13.150, about 70 points. A few minutes early, I was watching this, I thought, did they release the report early? And then the market came right back down to break even, and then it was released, and then it came right back up. And same thing on the micro. Now the second unusual thing that happened was the micros traded much lower than the minis on this. And so you see, I'm going to clear this out. So the first thing is the false start. You see the false start right here in the micros and also in the E-minis. Here is the E-mini. Here is the micro. So MNQ, M in the front means a micro. So the false start is the first unusual thing. And then the second unusual thing is how much this reverted. So in the Nasdaq, it reverted back to around break even. In the micros, it came way beyond. So this traded much lower. You see some distortions in the swing highs and the swing lows, but this is one of the biggest I've seen in a long time. Let's look at the exact number. So the first is the false start. Second is the micros traded much lower on that mean reversion right before the break. And so let's see how much lower it traded. The low there was 13.034. And the low here was 13.089, so about 55 points lower. 55 points lower. I don't know the last time I've seen that. That is extreme. And so let's look at the trades on the day and how that affected the trading. So in the Nasdaq, 60-minute breakout system was the only system that traded during this time period. It captured the long trade, hit its profit target, captured another long trade, hit its profit target. And so it was up on the day. And the micros, let's see how it affected the micros. The micros took the long trade, and then it took another long trade, and because this pullback was so big, the micros were stopped out while the E-minis were not. And so big difference there in the results between the micros and minis. Biggest distortion I've seen in a long time on differences over 55 point difference. And so it'll be interesting to go back and track that and see what the biggest differences are. And so I wanted to point that out, how the Nasdaq 60-minute breakout will do much better. In this case, sometimes that works in our favor. For example, if you have a limit order much lower and it's not filled in the Nasdaq, but it's filled in the micro, and then it goes up and hit its profit target, it's kind of a free trade that the Nasdaq didn't take, or a short strategy that hit its profit target, maybe in the micros, but not the Nasdaq, and then got stopped out in the Nasdaq. And so Two big differences on this CPI trade. We're up on the day in the strategies right now at these prices, but there's not a lot of intraday price movement. All the movement was 1 minute, 1 to 3 minutes, and so chop early, 1 to 3 minute move, then chop, and so but we're up so far, and we get a further extension to the upside. We're long. We could be up for the day. Stay tuned for our daily report on this. So wanted to share with you the differences between the micros and the minis on July CPI.
Hey, David Bean here. Welcome to Capstone Trading Systems YouTube page. Be sure to subscribe to join our community of algorithmic traders. We are real money traders. We share our winning streaks, we share our losing streaks, as well as market updates, strategies, and coding tips.